Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session of AAC in the Cloud. The presenters for this session are Christy and Jill. They will be, if there's time at the end of their presentation, taking questions. So make sure you save those questions and you post them in the Slack channel. We'll turn the time over to our presenters.
Thanks, Josh. I'm Jill.
And hi, I'm Christy Bowers.
And we are excited to be here and have all of you joining us. We will be talking today about overnight transformation to telepractice due to COVID-19, keeping it real. So Jill Tullman and Associates is an AAC speech language private practice. We have 2 offices in Colorado in the United States, 1 in Denver and 1 in Colorado Springs. We are an AAC private practice. We have 6 speech language pathologists and 1 occupational therapist working with us. Our OT has expertise in seating, positioning, access to assistive technology, and sleep positioning. Prior to the pandemic, when we literally closed our offices overnight, we saw about 125 clients weekly, all who have complex communication needs and who use AAC. We primarily work with kids, teens, and young adults. We think that we're a pretty awesome practice, and our practice has lots of strengths and diverse talents. We, are only as good as those we surround ourselves with. When we were thrown into telepractice, everybody really ran with their comfort levels and skill sets. We have always maintained close relationships with families. Families are always actively involved in our sessions. Since the onset of telepractice, we feel like our relationships with families have gotten even stronger. We have found that parents have different levels of technology experience, and families also have different connectivity and speed issues in terms of Wi-Fi. So while our lives were turned upside down overnight, parents' lives were also turned upside down overnight, and their roles changed. They're trying to meet school expectations. Many started working from home. They were becoming teachers and therapists with no advance warning. Our practice's philosophy has always been fun for all. We follow and embrace the participation model. I'm sure many of you are aware of it. It was first introduced by David Buchelman and Pat Miranda in 1998. And it really talks about the purpose of an AAC intervention being to facilitate meaningful communication and participation in daily life activities. We really maximize teachable moments whenever possible when working with our clients, as we feel this is where authenticity and the magic of communication really come into play. When individuals with complex communication needs are actively engaged in using vocabulary in their AAC systems, either spontaneously or when supported to do so, not directed to do so, they're really learning the power of initiation, communication, and active participation. We embrace and believe that language needs to be taught and mindfully modeled with opportunities and expectations for individuals with complex communication needs to use vocabulary during meaningful and authentic interactions. We find that this can be accomplished using relevant, repetitive, meaningful, activity-based routines that help build individuals' confidence and comprehension of task and activity expectations. Most importantly, I think we really believe, as I said at the beginning of the slide, that communication needs to be fun for all. We consider ourselves to be authentic, and we love having fun. We do very little, if any, drill and kill. And our philosophy is, if we're not having fun, then the individuals we work with aren't having fun. So COVID hit. We literally closed our offices on Monday, March 16th. Seems like a lifetime ago.
Yes, it does.
We met as a team on Tuesday, March 17th, and we began telepractice sessions on Wednesday, March 18th. The following week, the week of March 23rd, telepractice was literally in full swing for us and our clients. So as we transformed to telepractice, we really felt and feel like deer in the headlights. When we met that next day on March 17th, as a team, we identified a video conferencing platform that we were going to use. We talked as a team about what we needed to do and how we would do this, and we knew nothing about telepractice before this. We divided and conquered. We signed up for webinars on telepractice. For those of you who have been doing telepractice, certainly the middle of March through the beginning of April, there were a ton of webinars available. We started following Facebook groups that focus on telepractice. We identified and purchased resources that we thought we would need to be able to successfully do telepractice. And I think most importantly, we just tried to take a deep breath and rely on what we know works, what we do daily in our in-person sessions. So what we do and how we do therapy has not changed. The therapy delivery has changed. So for the adults, for us and our parents, we really had to summon our strength. And again, for those of you doing telepractice, I don't know about you, but we all found it, for certainly the first 4 to 6 weeks to be totally exhausting.
And I feel that at the beginning, I always had to have 2 plans in place, a high-tech one where I was able to use the computer and then fall back to a more lower tech lesson plan, just simply because of some of the internet issues that I was experiencing and that my families were experiencing. And just as we became more accustomed and familiar with the platform and all of the resources that we were able to access using it, I was able to not spend so much time having kind of 2 plans of attack. I could just have one.
So as we embarked on telepractice, we're always positively reinforced by our clients. This is Brady, and his mom texted me this. Did our first telehealth music therapy session, and this is what Brady said. And he said, "Don't worry, I've got this." As we embarked on telepractice, we started sending out weekly emails to all of our families. We did this through MailChimp. Initially, the email blast was used to introduce the video platform. And since then, it's been a really great way to check in with families. We try to keep the emails brief and also useful. We've provided links to easy to access resources for kids, teens, and a couple of times for parents themselves. Many of you are familiar with Epic Books. Epic Books is a wonderful resource. Through the end of April, Disney Hotline had an 800 number where you could call and have either Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, or Donald speak a good night or bedtime message to your child. Banff Mountain Film Festival and provided the hyperlink here. This was a wonderful resource that we learned about and we shared with families. Their short film entries were made available online, and they're just short and they're beautiful, all about the outdoors. So 1 week we included that. We launched a site that has some of our favorite toys, books, and games. And again, that link is included. And then we also used the weekly email as we planned for reopening our offices. Another thing that we did, most weeks, we asked parents to share ideas, activities, or resources in the email blasts that we sent out. And we did weekly drawings for a $25 Amazon gift card for those who participated. We felt it was a nice pick-me-up for families and just an extra little bit of motivation for them to share ideas. In the picture on the left, this is Amy, and her mom texted this and shared the idea, or shared what she received, a homemade Mother's Day card made on the platform in her speech class with Mary Frances, who is a speech therapist who we work with. And I think she meant to say best present ever. And the picture on the right is an email we got from Riley's mom, Rachel, talking about what they have done to stay busy during the pandemic. At the end of the talk today, we'll share some survey results about what families have liked and not liked about TelePrAACtice. And that was something we asked for in a recent weekly email. For our platform, we chose Thera Platform. It's a secure and HIPAA compliant video conferencing platform. We really wanted a secure platform from the beginning because we wanted to minimize the burden on families. And we've been really pleased with Thera Platform. It is a fully integrated teletherapy and practice management software. We're really just using the video conferencing portion of it, although at the start, we were so happy that they had a built-in consent form that was HIPAA compliant, and we do use their scheduling and appointment reminder features. Some examples of the features of the platform that we use are video sharing, document sharing, screen sharing, and some interactive applications that are built into the platform. The picture on the far left is Mary Frances with Alex, and they're participating and sharing this interactive whiteboard where they're drawing items about spring and labeling them. In the far upper right corner, you see Jameson with his mom engaged in the platform where a YouTube video about farm and barnyard is being shared. And then in the bottom picture, you see me and Andrew where his mom had sent a picture of him and his sister. We uploaded that picture to the platform, to the interactive whiteboard. Andrew used vocabulary in his talker to generate language about the picture. When we talk about families, it really was the first time for all of our families to participate in any type of telepractice. We have always felt, but certainly now in light of the pandemic, that our families are the real heroes and implementers. Families, like all of us, have different levels of technology experience. And as Christy mentioned, families also have different internet connectivity, speeds, and issues. Now I'm going to turn it over to Christy.
And this pretty much sums it up. Practice almost makes perfect. When we were initially just trying, starting groups together, sessions, we were there for each other. We worked together. We did our first sessions together with colleagues just to support each other with any technical issues, become more familiar with how to access different areas on the platform, like sharing the screen, video sharing, and uploading resources. We did this together. It was a fun way to spend St. Patrick's Day. As you can see in the picture, Mary Frances looks fabulous in her St. Patty's Day hat, and it was nice to do this together. Since telepractice was a new element, we wanted to add familiarity to our sessions. So we continue to do what we were doing in the office, and we brought that to the platform. So it was important for us for clients to know our expectations, how sessions were going to run. So we always started and ended sessions the same way. We even do that now. There's some clients that love the hello song, which we'll share with you in a few moments. We still start sessions like that, or we still start sessions with, just social, how are you doing? Those types of things, just to build that familiarity and the predictability of the session. Some subscriptions and interactive websites we shared with families during the pandemic, Epic, Tumble Books, Crick Software, and then other free resources that they were able to access that we shared, Tar Heel Reader and others. So as a group, the first day of becoming familiar with the platform, we broke down topics to upload to the platform that were familiar to our clients. So we all sat around the conference table and, I took songs, someone else took, Eric Carle books, someone took Froggy books. books and activities and songs that we knew our clients loved and were familiar with. We went ahead and uploaded those so we would have something to start with, because we were starting from ground zero and we needed to have materials we could easily access and materials that clients loved and were motivated to communicate about. So we did that as a group in the morning, and then before we left the office that day, you'll see the picture on the left. A long time ago, we created these binders for aided language, and we use them in the office frequently, almost within each session. And as you can see, there's different pictures in there. It's broken down by verbs, descriptors, pictures related to nature. And this was an awesome way to have low tech that we could use at home to support our clients. While we were using old and familiar materials from the office, we also wanted to expand and, you know, see what else was out there. And we added some new materials for our telepractice, and that was interactive PDFs, boom cards, and Jill got a subscription to the digital SLP. So differentiation, while we have used similar materials with clients, we always differentiated instruction. That's with the vocabulary we targeted, the types of supports we gave, the amount of cueing. We have always differentiated. So even if we were using a boom card for one client, we may use the same boom card, but we are differentiating the instruction. And as we mentioned before, parents play such a vital role supporting their children in therapy. They became the co-therapist. They were the therapist on the other side of the computer screen. And as they continued to work with us, they continued to learn and implement the strategies into a lot of the daily routines that we use in the therapy. So they were learning some of these strategies and implementing them during our sessions, but also they were able to use them outside of our sessions and just use them in the home environment and in the community. Parents, I think one of the things I noticed the most is parents just became such active participants, especially when they were able to navigate the device. They were learning where vocabulary was. It was awesome. And then just managing the AAC technology. Parents now are able to program buttons on the fly. They're able to back up files. It is just awesome how they have learned, and they're continuing to learn how to provide that support and device maintenance. So as far as planning for initial sessions, our first sessions, we spent time orienting ourselves and parents to the platform, whether that was logging in, troubleshooting, you know, just figuring out the waiting room at times. We were always spending time, you know, troubleshooting, talking and brainstorming with families. And like I said prior to, we liked the predictable, familiar routine. So as you can see on the left-hand side, some of the clients, they definitely benefit and they love visual schedules. So guess what? We took those home and we were using those during telepractice, so they knew what to expect. Clients love to know the expectations. That's when they perform the best, and they like to know what's coming up. So typically with some clients, we would use visual schedules. We would also have the same routine. We built in literacy activities. This was all new. This was new for all of us. And it was just taking things we were familiar with, that the clients were familiar with, and incorporating that into therapy. Some typical therapy themes and activities that we did not only in the office, but we continue to do is check-in, greeting each other, talking about how we're feeling for the day. Oh, I'm not feeling well. You know, I hate being stuck inside. Even talking about the weather and what we're wearing. You know, some of my clients would get new shoes and they were so excited to share their shoes. And so check-in was just so important to get the therapy session going. Also something that we incorporated towards the check-in was talking about time. And that was not only days and months and seasons, but it was talking about upcoming graduations, talking about barbecues, talking about, who maybe came over to visit. Just even having the drive-by graduations. Families were so excited to share pictures, and sometimes prior to the therapy sessions, families would, text pictures so we could share that and say, oh, what did you do on Saturday? Look, I saw, your grandma came over. And just the communication that comes from that was awesome. We also incorporated different holidays and seasons. And as we mentioned before with the Hello song, this is Miss Marlo, who has a YouTube channel. And this, the Hello songs and Miss Marlo just in general, we use with a lot of our younger clients that had never participated in teletherapy, and they love this. It was such an easy way to get them hooked and engaged. As you can see, there is a hyperlink to her YouTube channel and also to the Hello and Goodbye song that we start many of our sessions with. You will also see the picture on the right. We created overlays on different devices for kids to participate in this fun song. She really is awesome. And then this is just a brief picture of check-in and maybe some of the materials we would use. This beautiful little boy is Miles, and he was participating and sharing his feelings with Jill. And then these are some of our light tech materials that we are showing you on the right side, just weather and then some feeling words. Okay. In addition, these are some of some additional Thera Platform resources that we were able to upload and to use on the platform. So if you can see on the left side of the screen, this is the book Duck on a Bike. Some of the fabulous SLPs I work with, they adapted several books using Book Creator. And Book Creator, and they uploaded it to our site. So we were able to access the books, and our clients were able to read the books with the symbols. It was quite amazing and fun. And then on the bottom is AAC Coach. She has wonderful resources, and we uploaded this to our platform for written communication activities. We have quite a few on our platform, which was nice to access. And then just on the right side, one of the resources that was really nice is we were able to create different themes like spring, summer, farm, and we would upload different books and songs and activities to that. So we could just simply go to summer, click it open, and go to maybe an IC summer book, summer song. So it was just nice. We always had access and materials to use during therapy. So that was wonderful. And this is one of my favorite activities. We use this in the office, and it was perfect for Telepractice. In the box, you hide, you put items in that you are teaching, maybe for a new unit. So if you look at the picture, we were doing zoo animals. And so you put the items in the box, and most of the clients are always so excited. They'll say, oh, close your eyes, no peeking, and they're closing their eyes on the other side of the screen. And you simply pick out an object, and it's a great way to introduce new vocabulary. It was a great way to kind of slow it down and have parents help with the navigation to locate that new vocabulary. And as sessions progressed, we might use the same objects, but we would take it to another level. So we might work on attributes. Oh, look at that tiger. He has sharp teeth. He has a long tail. He has stripes. And we would start working on that. Oh, he lives at the zoo, different types of things like that. So you can really up the ante with the mystery box. And it's just a great way to start different themes, if you will. And then the next, we're big thematic learning folks here. And so one of the units that we did was spring planting. And so as you can see in the picture, in my mystery box, or in our mystery boxes, We had pots, we had different types of seed packets, shovels, dirt. I had a watering can. And if you can see on the bottom, we had sentence strips. So during some of the activities, kids could kind of direct the activity and that type of thing. And then we also incorporated different books online. So planting a rainbow, the little seed, just different books and computer songs and different written communication activities. And one thing that in the office we always did, we love hands-on activities. I love for the client to create things and to be able to share that with family and take it out of the office. I feel like it's a scrapbook for them, and it's a way for them to share their new vocabulary, their new verbs, just their experience with others outside of the office. And so unfortunately, we weren't able to do the hands-on, but they were able to do that and tell me what to do on the other side. So all the clients, we planted seeds, and it was a great way to work on the attributes because seeds are different sizes and that type of thing. And then as the plants, the seeds started growing, it became part of our check-in. So some of the clients would just say, plant. They wanted to see how their plant was doing and how did we take care of the plant. So then, even though they weren't able to do it, they were telling me, oh, we need to put in more water. And then, oh, where do I need to put it after the session? Oh, put it outside in the sun. So it was just a nice way to add to our repetitive and predictable routine at the beginning. Other activities that we use during teletherapy are just preferred toys, activities, books, and games. We've had some families purchase similar items. So like, for example, on the right hand of the screen, you see the accordion. I have a client who has the same accordion at home. So we would have a little band and we would both be playing music and we would be playing it fast and slow, putting it on our head and just being silly. You have to have fun. If you're not having fun, it's not a fun session. So, playing with instruments was a great time. And some of our clients, they love bubbles. So even though they weren't able to pop the bubbles, I had some clients asking for bubbles at the beginning when we first started doing therapy. And they were so excited to see bubbles popping close to the computer. So just using familiar activities really helped, I think, ease the transition from office to teletherapy. And as you can see in these fabulous pictures, Roman and his mom on the left side were playing with a very hungry caterpillar. And then in the middle, Gabriel and his mom were playing with the ukulele. And then on the right-hand side, Jordan is playing with a toy pig. So it just goes to show that we were all learning to play, to use our devices, and just to have fun. So I think parents were learning how to use the device and incorporate it in different ways other than just therapy. We were just having fun playing. And this pretend play as well, you're able to do over teletherapy. And this all started with one of my clients. He was very excited to show me his moose. He had a little stuffed animal moose, his favorite animal. And you know what? It's my favorite animal too. So typically they always tell you your background in your office, it needs to be plain, no visual distractions. Well, sometimes you just have to spice things up a bit. And so the next time we had teletherapy, oh my goodness, Mr. Moose, who doesn't have a big moose like that laying around? I was gifted that, 5 years ago, and I got it out of a box and I put it behind me. And Lucas was so excited, just the language that was coming from it. And from there, it kind of spiraled out. And then, Mr. Moose was tired, so we needed to put him to bed. And so I have just a flat little table there. And so I had a pillow and blanket. He was thirsty, we would make him eat. So there was just so much language you can do just from pretend play over, over the computer. And then a few weeks later, I was cleaning my closets and I found my old Halloween costume, and it was if you give a moose a muffin. And so guess what I did? I greeted Lucas with my moose hat on, and it was a great way to get started and a great way to change things up and just to comment and yeah, just to spice things up, and it went well. And then within our activities, sessions, typically we always do some literacy activities. And this is just an example of maybe a book we might do and the low tech we have. So you can see on the bottom all the vocabulary that's used to read this book. And then on the right side, we have the sentence strips with the symbols in order so that supports their reading. And then just with literacy, when school was in session, I did have some parents contact me and say, hey, the school is doing, planting next week. Would it be possible for, you to also, support that? And so that was a great way to, work on literacy, but also to support school, to support the home. And the clients were able to learn where that vocabulary was and just some of those additional vocabulary words. And then lastly, with the literacy piece, this is Maddie doing a spring activity. And you will see that she has the letters in the word spring above her on the little shelf that we'll talk about in a bit. And then Jill is holding up the light tech version of spring. So this is multimodal learning. I mean, this is incorporating it all. So it's just really thinking outside the box, bringing old with new, and just having fun.
Okay, examples of websites and materials we use during therapy sessions. We mentioned earlier, Tar Heel Reader, Starfall, Epic Books. YouTube read-alongs are great. In this picture on the left, this is Pamela reading the book from head to toe with Aaron, and then device editing software. We have incorporated interactive PDFs into sessions, books about the pandemic, activities that are related to spring, Earth Day, Easter, Mother's Day, and then summer activities, Mother's Day, Father's Day. So we always incorporate iPad applications into our therapy sessions when we were in the office, and we found a great way to do that during telepractice. We like apps to encourage language and participation. The mirror screening software that we use is called AirServer. There is a hyperlink to AirServer as well as the other apps listed here. And we just list here some examples of some of our favorite applications that can easily be differentiated and are age appropriate for kids at all levels and abilities. My Playhome, Starfall ABCs, First Words Deluxe, Symbol Support by Attainment. A new one we found recently are Video Touch apps, and then Pic Collage is definitely a favorite. When we are mirroring when we're mirroring iPads, it's a great way to mirror editing software. Or in this example, I actually have Emily's actual vocabulary file on my iPad. So I was able to mirror it, and then you'll see the picture on the left where I'm drawing how she can turn the word come into came, and then the picture on the right, how it's easy for me to show her how she can then share her text. It's a great way, easy way to model where vocabulary is. As Christy mentioned, we use boom cards and different decks as they target a variety of skills. When we're talking about creativity, we have all had to get creative. So here, Maddie's mom, Corinne, made this, and she put it over their laptop's keyboard to prevent Maddie from banging on the keys. You'll hear Corinne talk later about how telepractice has been for Maddie at the end of the session, and she references this, and it's genius. So you wouldn't even know that there was a laptop there. Brian often had difficulty attending to or maintaining his attention to his laptop, and his mom, Andrea, came up with this simple yet brilliant idea to pair their laptop with their smart TV, and his attention has increased significantly. Here you see on the big TV, that's the Video Touch app on music. We have all had to be flexible. The picture on the left is Jenny, SLP who we work with. She's holding her iPad up to screen share the application, My Playhome. And then on the right, this is how Christy has positioned her iPad to also be mirrored to the screen.
Because technology didn't work in that moment.
When we're talking about our teens and young adults, we have familiar games, so games that they're familiar with, and we share them over the screen. It's been great for family participation and hands-on game playing. Parents are seeing firsthand how we prompt their kiddos and provide wait time and scaffolding. And as Christy said earlier, we really are like essentially co-treating with parents. And so, then to see them model and prompt and provide wait time and scaffolding is exciting. Clients have to take more initiation. It's a great way to work on language generation, describing things, and taking turns. And of course, games, lots of games are universal, and they naturally add social element to things. So we always try and engage our clients in activities to produce written communication, as written communication is a great and natural way to target language generation, to target kids' abilities to put their own words together. And this has continued through TeleprAACtice. So in the picture in the top left, we're using the whiteboard within Thera Platform. Jace is generating language about summer on his talker, and after he speaks the sentence, I'm typing out what he says on the interactive whiteboard. For Earth Day, we read the book The Earth by Todd Parr, and then we wrote about it. Christy also mentioned earlier how parents send us pictures of their kids or their kids' favorite activities and things they're into in a given week. The lawnmower picture was a picture that Nathan's mom sent to us. And then he was supported to generate the language, Daddy mows the grass, I see Daddy. Another thing, just a couple apps. There are lots of apps that can be used for this. We really like to use Pic Collage a lot and symbol support. And again, those are just our preferences. And then this is one of our faves. One of the main reasons we all communicate is for social closeness. This is Wyatt and Tyra. They go to school together and they participate in therapy together, or at least they did pre-pandemic. So, Wyatt is not very happy to be stuck at home. And when asked if he wanted to write a letter and who he wanted to write it to, he immediately said Tyra. So he wrote this letter using vocabulary in his talker. We typed it out. Tyra needs support to be able to read, so we use the symbol support app. It's really fun that we can import pictures of Wyatt in there, pictures of Tyra, and then we mailed it to her, and she was just a little bit excited to get her letter.
She was very excited, and that was my therapy session because she was sharing it. And then she was just so excited. So we talked about the letter and just about what group used to look like. And it was just a really positive session.
And then, obviously, when we were putting this talk together, we were looking for things. And when we texted Tyra's mom to see if she still had the letter. And her mom said, absolutely, she has the letter, and sent us that picture of Tyra holding the letter. Okay, so another thing that we've done over TeleprAACtice has been to maintain and support equipment. We will do programming of vocabulary files, and as we're adding vocabulary, and we'll email them to families and then walk or talk families through loading the files on their kids' devices. So families are also increasing their competency and comfort levels with doing that. We continue to customize pages and files. We coach parents through programming. We'll coach parents through tweaking a scanning pattern on a device. As we mentioned at the very beginning, we have an awesome OT, Michelle Lang, who works with us. And she's been able to join sessions as needed to help families adjust equipment. And that's been really, really great. And then, telepractice really is and has been a family affair. It's a huge benefit for us. So in the picture on the far left, you see Andrew engaged with all of his family. The picture in the middle, Malachi's brother Cone is holding up his switch. And then the picture on the right, Jordan's brother Nico is bringing over blocks for her to play with.
And next, it was important through this whole process, going from the office to teletherapy, to get parents' feedback on what was going well, what we could improve on, what we could change, basically just the pros and cons of teletherapy. So the first video that we're going to show you is Kimberly and Lawton sharing their experiences with telepractice. And then the second video that you'll see is Corinne discussing her daughter Maddie's experience and why it works best for her.
Hi, we made transitions to augmented technology through teletherapy because of the changes in the world. And at first I didn't think I'd like it, but out of all over 5 of them, teletherapies or teleschool sessions I had, I appreciated and loved speech therapy with Jill Tullman and Christie by far the best. They are so talented. Christy had a bag of tricks up her sleeve to keep him engaged, keep him interacting, keep him learning new skills. It made me better as a parent as far as what I was able to do with the device. And we started to use the device and our language skills more and more. So during the whole quarantine, we're tired right now, huh? But we got better at speaking, we got better at using our device, and it was a wonderful thing. So we just want to end by saying,
I think teletherapy is great.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the next video.
Found a spot for Madeline where her body would be very supported. And so she really just had to focus on how she was going to communicate with Jill through a computer. One of our other therapists recommended we build a keyboard cover, which really just slipped right over the laptop and it blocks the keyboard. Again, I mentioned that Madeline is a sensory seeker, so having that keyboard in front of her the whole time was such a huge distraction. We really didn't get anything done. So once we got the location set, a supported environment, a place that she could focus, we were off to the races. And Jill and her other therapists that really embraced teletherapy came to us with a really great program of starting with a hello song, moving on to how we feel, what the weather was, and then diving into the day's lesson, which meant it really helped Madeline transition into the appointment because she knew what at least we were going to start with.
Okay.
Found a spot for Madeline where her...
Hold on. There we go. And so as we shared with you, Jill sent out MailChimps weekly. And so one of our MailChimps were, what were the pros and cons of telepractice? What are your thoughts? And so here's some of the thoughts that the parents shared with us. My son has autism and transitions to new locations can be difficult. With telepractice, there are no disruptive behaviors because there are no transitions. The screen sharing feature has allowed fun videos to be a seamless part of his sessions, and sitting next to him during his sessions allowed me to learn and to continue using the strategies at home, even after the sessions were over. We are so appreciative you're having telepractice so that his therapy was not disrupted during that pandemic. That right there speaks to it all. You have, no transitions, the screen sharing, and then just learning of strategies and using that in the home environment. Another thought was distance for health safety, and it seems to work for him. The last one was, I can participate and learn more about the process. She stays more on track and participates easier. Some of the cons that parents listed: occasional connection issues, which I think is frustrating for all of us. Nothing really, I just know my son wants to get back to normal. Clients miss being outside, being able to interact with others. I know some of our clients that are in groups want so desperately to get back to seeing their friends, and it's just not possible right now. My child has a hard time with online learning, occasional technical issues, but very minor. We do miss face-to-face interaction, but it's not worth the risk of taking Laura out. And someone else said nothing, it's been great. So I think the feedback we've received, it's been a little bit of everything, but there's more pros at this point. So as SLPs, I feel like our positive outcomes of telepractice, the engagement in parents, they are actively engaged with their children during sessions and with the device. They are awesome now with programming and just knowing the device as a whole. We're seeing more siblings participating in therapy and learning how to support their siblings' communication, which is just so powerful. And I know we showed you some pictures of that. Families are learning how to back up vocabulary files and how to program buttons. Some like and want us to continue doing it. And I think above all, everyone has learned we just have to be flexible and adaptable. Parents are, I said it before, they're more comfortable supporting and knowing how to support their children's communication and language using the devices. So I think we've all seen a lot of positive outcomes, more than what I initially thought there would be. So I'm really excited about that. And lastly, the silver lining of teletherapy is just the parent involvement. And I just kind of spoke to this, but they went from more observers to active participants. They became co-therapists with us. They were the therapists on the other side of the screen, and they did that wonderfully. I'm just really happy with, all the parents that have just really taken this and gone with it. They're programming devices. Clients are using devices at home more than usual. They're using devices during e-learning activities for school. Parents understand our expectations better, and many are expecting more from their children, which I think is huge. Parents are more creative, and still just growing in their knowledge. Our relationships with families are stronger than ever, and parents are asking more questions on how to implement the device at home, in the community, in other settings. So this is just a fun picture.
Okay, of keeping it real during COVID. The picture on the left, our friend Brady turned 21, and we participated in a drive-by. In the middle is Miles. He and his super fun family one day put glow sticks on him, his brother, and his sister, and you see the result. And then in the upper right corner
is Jasper. That was on Easter. I think Dad dressed up as the Easter bunny, and he had the hat on and was just running around the house with the hat. And it was just awesome. So, we're still having fun during this, and that's what's important. So to wrap things up, does anyone have any questions or comments?
There are a few questions in the Slack channel, so let me get back there.
Okay.
One of the questions was, is there an additional charge in Thera Platform to load additional books?
No, so like I said at the beginning, we pay for Thera Platform, so we have the premium or whatever the top version is. And because of that, we're able to upload whatever we want.
Okay, another question is, do you have scheduled time to consult or talk with the family outside of the direct service time?
Yes, so what we do is, depending on the families, we might spend a little bit of time at the beginning or at the end of the session to consult with them as needed. Like if someone, we actually had a couple families get new devices arrive during the pandemic. So we've been able to like do programming, drop devices off at their houses, obviously not going in on the front porch. We've set up phone calls as needed with families.
Okay, another question is, do you have some tips? It looks like maybe for working with older students.
Like activity tips? Oh, we don't know. This is what's hard about not being live. So as far as activities, I just say try to make it as age appropriate as possible. So, you know, many of our clients right now are graduating from high school. So I think, you know, planning, like talking about graduation and pulling in pictures from, you know, just their daily lives, you know, like I said, playing games, just trying to find things that are age appropriate.
And I would just add to that too, I think lots of our older clients have enjoyed playing games. They did lots of writing letters to other peers who were graduating. Anything that's relevant when we talked about time concepts, creating Mother's Day cards for moms and special women, you know, for Mother's Day, dads and special father figures for Father's Day has been big. We find older kids really like anything related to holidays. So July 4th is coming up, you know, talking about that. Any other comments or questions? This is our first time giving this talk, obviously.
No, you did great. There is a question about how insurance billing has gone.
Sure. So we have not had many issues with insurance.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. To the best of my knowledge, there has been one insurance company that is not covering telepractice. And in terms of the insurance companies that we're billing.
Okay, and I don't know if you guys have HIPAA with some of your stuff. People would love to have a copy of your slides.
Yes, so what we will be doing after this is we just have to take the photos out. We obviously have permission to show them. We're just not comfortable like sharing that. And we will get, within the hour, we'll get the slides to Melissa so she can distribute it.
Okay, I kind of assumed that might be the situation.
And then guys, here's our contact info. We have a Facebook page, Jill Tullman and Associates, and our Instagram handle is JTAAAC. So definitely follow us. If you guys, you know, have suggestions or ideas for Christy and me for, you know, engagement and activities for telepractice, we would love to hear that. We actually opened our offices last week. Currently, we have about 15 to 20% of families who are physically coming into the offices, and the rest are continuing telepractice. So I think and hope that we'll be able to continue to do this for the foreseeable future, as you know, everyone can stay safe during the pandemic. Obviously, a lot of our guys are really, really compromised. So we thank everybody for their time. And Josh, thanks for moderating.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you everyone for attending this session of AAC in the Cloud. We encourage you to look at some of the other options that are available for the rest of the day. And thank you very much for your time, everyone.